Welcome back to the Captain's Quadrant. Today we are given a golden opportunity as we will be chatting with Doug Drexler. He's an absolute legend in the Star Trek and sci-fi universe, Oscar-winning visual effects artist, designer, sculptor, illustrator, and all-around good guy. Welcome, Doug. How are you?
Wow, thanks for having me. I can't believe I'm actually here.
Either
I am actually. Am I actually here? I think.
Yeah, you're here, man, in the flesh. We can't believe it either. So, oh man, what's that?
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you.
New York and Texas.
Yeah, coming together. All
in California.
We're getting the entire stretch of the United States. We did it. We've managed to do it all. So let's hop right into it. What was your first memory of Star Trek, and how did it shape your creative journey?
My first memory of Star Trek. Well, back then, there were only 3 networks. It's not like today where everything is sliced in so wafer thin that you can't even keep up with everything. But every year leading up to September, the networks would pull out all the stops, doing sizzle reels and advertising and getting you excited about premiere week, which would happen in September. And, Star Trek premiered in September. And I was a really literate kid. I mean, I read all the classics by the time now we're talking about what? It's like I'm 12 or about 12 years old, I guess. It's right after the World's Fair.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the advertising. You get all this amazing advertising. September was when all the new cool cars came out from Detroit. I'm not really a motorhead, but I like the designs. And then all the new TV shows would be coming out. So they were really good at whipping up your, getting you going for the new season.
Right.
And so there were little trailers that didn't give away a lot, but the other thing was print ads. There were a lot of print ads done by wonderful illustrators, which you don't get that anymore. Photography and CG has taken over everything.
Yeah, sadly.
But NBC had their big premiere week, this giant mural that they had done, and a little part of it was for Star Trek, and it was Kirk and Spock and the Enterprise back there. And that ship, I knew right away that this was not going to be your normal thing, because usually it's a silver, streamlined rocket with fins, which isn't so crazy anymore, because now we've got silver streamlined rockets with fins again that are landing on their tails, which was a science fiction trope in the 50s, a rocket laying on its tail.
Yeah.
And it's actually happening, which is crazy. But the ship, we'd never seen anything like it before. And it grabbed my attention right away. And I knew that whoever was doing the show was science, someone who read science fiction, that it was beyond what they saw. You didn't see stuff like this in movies or TV very often. This was someone who, and then when the first season came along, Gene had hired science fiction writers, Harlan Ellison, and Theodore Sturgeon, So that was my first glimpse of the show. And actually, the horrible part was that it was on Thursday nights, and I wasn't allowed to watch TV during the week. I could only watch television on the weekends.
Oh.
And so I had to hear about the first few episodes from my friends, which was killing me. Yeah. And one Thursday night, my mother decided to take a shower.
Yep.
So while she was in the shower, I snuck downstairs, turned on the TV, which back then you had to warm up the television. It didn't just come right on. And I caught about 10 minutes of a first season episode, and it blew my mind. I mean, it was like, this was, to me, look, Twilight Zone was great.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't a pure science fiction show. Outer Limits, I really loved, but space opera I was always in love with, and they were doing it like nothing I'd ever seen before. I mean, what did we have before? We had Forbidden Planet, which is fantastic, although the 2 shows really, Gene Roddenberry, I actually think I heard him say at one of his college things that he had never seen Forbidden Planet, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So I went on strike with my parents to get 1 hour of TV a week. And they finally gave in. Why? No one really knows for sure. Maybe it's because I was just too much of a pain in the ass, or I was just really cute. I'm not sure which it was, but I got my 1 hour. So that 1 hour became a special thing for me. I would count the days down to get to that show. And when I watched it, the stories were so intriguing that, and Denise Okuda and I have talked about this, that after the show, you would sit there kind of in a trance, like a deep sea diver coming back to the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, I later recognized the feeling as the same one I would get if I was doing a lot of writing, creative writing or drawing. It was like you go into an alpha state,
Mm.
So the show took over my life, and it actually has driven my life. All the adults told me I'd grow out of it, but I just never did, and it's still a dramatic part of my life.
Hey, you did the smart thing. You took what you love and turned it into income,
Well,
and then got an award for it. So you can't beat that.
It really has been crazy and unbelievably, fulfilling. And I mean, talk about dream come true. I mean, who could have ever imagined that it would turn out? But most of your parents are looking at the stuff you're loving as a kid and saying, well, that's Junior's interested in kid stuff, and that they'll talk you out of it, or even if you're someone who likes to sketch. I'm not saying your parents, but you'll go to school and sketch, and people will say, "Oh, that's no good. You don't know how to draw," and you get embarrassed, and you stop doing it.
Yeah.
The thing the talent that I had was ignoring everything they told me.
Good.
I didn't believe any of it, and it's crazy to like burn down everything that you loved as a kid and try to start over. It never worked for me.
No, thank God, because we wouldn't have how awesome it looks because of it. So.
Oh well, you are very kind, sir. But, but it is an incredible group effort of amazing people. We were very lucky in the years that we were doing Star Trek, where it was an incredible family of people who, because now they'll do like 10 episodes and there may not be more episodes for years, a couple of years. We were doing 26 episodes a year. 26 episodes a year for like 17 years.
Yeah.
And then you'd get like a guaranteed 3 months off for a hiatus, which was awesome. And you had a job coming back, and everyone became a big family.
Yeah.
And plus, when we were doing the shows, it was being done at Paramount, and everybody was within walking distance of each other. The writers, the wardrobe, the visual effects. We'd see each other every day, construction, everything. Now it's like stuff is spread out all over the place. They might shoot it in Vancouver, and then they'll do visual effects in Hong Kong, and or India.
Oh wow, save a buck. Yeah.
So we did get to come back for Picard season 3, which I think was an incredible. Picard season 3 was all about coming full circle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true in front of the camera and behind the camera. There were a bunch of us. Terry Matalas was the showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
He understood Star Trek. He worked with us on the earlier shows.
He worked on Voyager, right?
Yeah, he was a writer's assistant, I think, to Brennan Braga.
Right.
And people, he used to hang out in the art department because we were all kind of kindred spirits. And art department's fun, It's where things are being dreamed up visually.
Right.
So he was the showrunner, and Dave Blass, who was the production designer, was a huge Star Trek geek. I met him on Facebook Messenger. I didn't know he was a production designer. I thought he contacted me. We just started talking Star Trek, and I thought he was a fan.
Yeah.
And he is a fan.
Yeah.
But the thing is that one day he says to me, by the way, I'm the new production designer on Picard, and I want to get the band back together. And it was like a phonograph needle being dragged across vinyl, that sound. I'm like, what? Can you say that again? That's insane.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing was that, I was an illustrator on Enterprise, and yes, I love spaceships, but by the time that was all done, I was like, I don't ever want to design another spaceship because spaceships, if you're doing graphics, not that the producers don't look at the graphics, they do, but they don't look at them like the ships, especially if it's a hero ship, because it's a character. Yes. And they might make you redo that design 30 times because they don't really know what they want. It's the old thing where they say, I don't know what I want, but I'll know it when I see it. So they'll have you redo the design until there's no more time left. You know, and so when Picard happened, I thought Dave was going to ask me to do graphics, which, you know, it can be difficult coming up with, you know, good designs for graphic, but compared to starships, it's like falling off a log. So that's what I thought he was going to have me do. And then when he said he wanted me to work on ships with John Eaves, I was like in a state of panic. I didn't want to. But the great thing was it turned out so beautiful because Terry totally trusted us. He knew the ships were in good hands. Yeah. And yes, he had, you know, points and things that he wanted to see. But for the most part, believe it or not, he was mostly interested in whether I was happy. And Dave was the same way too, which is crazy. Because usually producers, Rick Berman would never look, I think Rick Berman's amazing. You know, he did an incredible job. But he would never ask me if I liked the ship. I'd never hear that. I mean, my God. Because whether I like it or not really doesn't matter. You know, to Dave and Terry it mattered. But to most producers, you know, it doesn't matter that much. So when you get it, we had a similar situation on Battlestar Galactica. We were pretty much allowed to run wild and do what we wanted to do. Yeah.
I love. Speaking of which, I love the Cylon ships. Those were cool. They were like stars almost.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Those were amazing.
That show's amazing.
Yeah,
that's like one of the greatest TV shows ever.
I agree.
I was amazed, to be honest. I mean, you know, when Enterprise got canceled, and of course, no one told us. We had to find out on the internet. But you know how you know that maybe something's wrong and you may be getting canceled? When people you've never seen before come into the office and start measuring the place.
Oh, man.
I'm going,
That's not good. Yeah.
That's not a good sign. Yeah. So when it did get canceled, I remember driving home thinking, wow, I was on Star Trek for like 17 years or something like that through makeup and you know, visual. I figured I'd used up all my luck that I'd never work again. You know, that's it. I'll never work again. And I got home and Dorothy met me at the door and said, there's a message for you from Gary Hutzel, who was the visual effects supervisor on BSG. Yeah. And he was on Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. And we get along great. Yeah. We're laughing all the time. And sure enough, I'm like, oh, he's going to ask me to come to Battlestar Galactica. Oh my God. and so I called him and he says, I heard about Enterprise. And I said, yeah. And he says, well, you know, every cloud has a silver lining. And he asked me to come to Battlestar. And it was, you know, I mean, I was unemployed for maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Amazing.
But, you know, look, was I sad Star Trek got canceled? Yes.
Of course.
But if it hadn't gotten canceled, Battlestar Galactica wouldn't have happened for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that would be a shame. I mean, look, it got us a bunch of Emmy nominations and we won twice.
Yep.
You know, so.
Something was right in the water that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jace.
Well, I was telling Joe the other day, it was funny. I was watching a video with you on YouTube the other day with that gigantic, beautiful model of the NX-01 where you were going through all the details of the model. And while I was watching that, I was thinking, boy, it'd be cool to talk to him. And then Joe calls me up and he's like, hey, guess what? So I just want to know, are there any behind the scenes moments either on the show or maybe even with the models? Because I'm a huge Starship guy that you think fans would be surprised to learn about. And also, follow-up question, what's he doing with that model? Because that thing was gigantic.
Yeah, it was made for me by a guy named Russell Myers who lives in Manhattan. Oh. He printed it in his apartment.
Oh.
And it was a gift. It's 6 feet long, and it's incredible. He did an amazing job, and it's a thrill because it was the first Enterprise to not have a shooting model.
Yeah.
Um,
It was all CGI, right?
It was all CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, CGI is amazing, but there's nothing like seeing a fully lit model on the stand.
Yeah.
Being photographed. But on the other hand, though, I mean, it's like models are a problem. They break, lights burn out. You got to get the Teamsters to go pick up the crate to bring it to the studio. They get dirty, the decals fall off. Yeah, a CG model is infinitely adjustable and never breaks.
Yeah.
And you could do just about any kind of shot you could imagine, which that isn't really true when you have a 6-foot model on a stand. But hey, I love CG and I love physical models. CG's been good to me. We're getting into the realm of AI, which is distressing. I think that's a problem. And a lot of people are going to be hurt by that. But what are you going to do? You just got to keep up with things.
Right. But AI starships don't come out as nice. That's what I've noticed.
Well, I mean, I guess you need to have someone who knows how to write prompts, who also who understands design.
Right.
And I think a lot of stuff that's being done in AI, it's just like anything else. It depends who's running it. But yeah, I think it's, if you want to talk about the original series, there's 2 episodes that everyone should rewatch, and that is Court Martial, Samuel T. Cogley, Attorney at Law, and The Ultimate Computer, where Kirk is losing his job to the computer.
Right.
And both of those episodes are they relate more than ever. More than ever. Oh, and another one, and I think it was called The Drumhead, Next Generation, which is Cogley saying a man has rights, a machine doesn't.
Right.
Well, here we see Picard defending Data, who is an AI, and saying he has rights. What's the charter of the Federation? To seek out new life? Well, there it sits.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a turnaround for Star Trek. But, I hope that it would be nice if AI was as benevolent as Data. I mean, Data is a sweetheart, but crazy shit ahead, I think.
Oh yeah. It's wild because now we're talking about AI. They're getting more into robots. And apparently, there's a plan by Amazon to replace entire warehouses of now with these robots to ship everything.
Yeah, and Elon plans on doing the same thing.
Yeah.
For
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I figure I'll be just in time to have an Optimus changing my diapers. Right. Another 10 years, I'll have an Optimist, and he'll change my, my Pampers and powder my bottom.
Yeah. All right, Doug, time to roll over.
Hi, Mommy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Is that you, Mama?
You've worked across multiple Trek eras from TNG to Picard. Which project did you feel that was the most liberating creatively?
Well, I mean, they were all liberating creatively in one way or another. The one that was most special to me, even though I got to do some real amazing stuff on the later shows, is coming to work on Next Generation as a makeup artist.
Yeah.
Because Gene Roddenberry was still alive and he was there. So, I mean, there were times I'd be on the set and turn around and Gene would be sitting in the tall director's chair watching me work. He's a hero of mine. Yeah. And so, and as a matter of fact, there was one day I was at the craft service table, and it was my early days there, so not everybody knew me. And the second AD comes up and says, "Are you Doug Drexler?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She says, "Mr. Roddenberry would like to speak to you." And I'm like, "What? Wow. Am I fired?" She took me onto the D bridge, and Gene was sitting at the back of the bridge in a tall director's chair, big smile, and just wanted to tell me what a great job we did on Dick Tracy. That's crazy, because that's another thing producers tend to not want to do, is compliment you.
Oh.
Because they don't want you to get a big head, you know?
Yeah.
It's your job.
Dick Tracy was amazing. The prosthetics I didn't even know that it was Al Pacino.
Oh, well, he went to the opening of Sea of Love that he was in that makeup.
Oh.
Oops. Oh God, I can't talk now. Hang on.
Oh, that's a cool ringtone.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, that was my phone.
Yeah. Very cool.
My favorite Martian theme.
Yeah.
What was I saying before that thing went
Dick
off?
Tracy, Pacino showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. No one knew he was there. I mean, in Variety, it said if Al Pacino was here, no one saw him. It'll be like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
In another 25 years, that show will still be special because of the makeup.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the makeups on Wizard of Oz, how long ago was that? And you still look at that movie as incredible. And I mean the original, you know, with Judy Garland.
Yeah, Judy Garland version, of course. Yeah. Not the what is it? Wicked. I think this is the one that's out.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's CGI.
Some people really love it, you know.
I like the Broadway play. I saw the first one. I think they're doing two. So
yeah, Wicked
Good, something like that.
Wicked for Good.
Wicked for Good. Yeah.
Wicked for Good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Jason.
So, you know, I mean, those makeups will be something to be proud of for always, probably.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was looking at clips the other day, and I still was like, "Oh, that looks amazing!" And here we are. I don't know how many years later. It's like, okay, it stands the test of time. You really put an impact in the universe.
Yeah, I mean, it's over 30 years, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is it 30 years? Yeah.
Yep.
Hard to believe.
Yeah.
That movie changed my whole life. As far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest movie ever made because it got us an Academy Award.
Yeah, Warren Beatty.
It got me, to work with Warren and all those actors. Holy crap! I mean, he called in all his friends to come work on that thing. You know.
Yeah.
And to get to do makeup on actors like that, and so it got me into the union in California because there's an East Coast union and a West Coast union. West Coast doesn't want makeup artists coming from the East Coast. They've got makeup artists here already. They need to get to work. And I remember Dick Smith. You know who Dick Smith is? He's like the godfather of makeup. He did The Exorcist and Little Big Man and Amadeus, the old Salieri and Amadeus.
Yeah.
I mean,
the nose for Salieri. Yeah.
The what?
The nose for Salieri.
The nose was the only thing that wasn't a prosthetic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his whole face was rubber except his nose.
Poor Marie, man.
Yeah. But he started me in the business, and that was the first genius I worked with and couldn't believe I was working with. And Dick said, "Oh, you guys will never get Dick Tracy," when they were first talking to us. He goes, "I'm sorry, chaps, but you guys will never get Dick Tracy. It'll be Rick Baker or Rob Bottin, the big guys at that time." And there were, big superstar makeup artists.
Right.
When there still was a need for makeup. Is being battered and killed by CG.
Yeah.
But Dick did not count on the power of Warren Beatty. Dick said Howard Smith, the head of the union in California, is a terror, and he will never allow it. And Warren hadn't decided whether Tracy was going to be a union show or not. Of course, the union wanted it. So, Warren used that as a bargaining chip. And he said, I think we're going to do it as a union show. However, I need these two guys, me and John, And Howard Smith personally drove our applications out to our lab in Van Nuys like this.
You made it when that happened.
And then when we got the job, Dick said, oh my God, well, you may have gotten the job, but you'll never lift a brush on stage.
Wow.
You'll be able to do the lab work, but they'll never let you. And of course we did, and he was completely baffled by the whole thing. I mean, it should have been Rick Baker, right?
Yeah, you bet.
But so, Warren, he marches to the sound of a different drummer. He's not an average guy in any way, and usually Warren does what Warren wants to do. I mean, I was on stage once. I know we're supposed to be talking about Star Trek, but
No, we don't have to.
there was one scene that I came down. I stood next to Dick Silbert, who was the production designer, who's an amazing old school production designer. And it was like take 42.
Oh.
And I said to Dick, I go, take 42. And he says, yeah, some suits from Disney are here. He wants to show them that he's going to do whatever he wants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Showing off. Yeah. That's power right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing. Yeah.
He can get away with it.
Yeah. Jason.
So, I mean, and of course I met, Dorothy, because she came to work for us on Dick Tracy.
Oh,
That's how I met her.
there you go. Yeah.
So that show changed my whole, and it was Dick Tracy got me onto Star Trek.
Oh.
Well, it's just that
How
if
did that
Dick
happen?
Tracy hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been in the Union on the West Coast.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been out here. I moved to work on Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy set me up to work on, and so as soon as we were done with Tracy, I went right over to Paramount and I begged Mike Westmore. I begged him, and he was kind of baffled because he's like, that was just one of the biggest shows in town. You'll be doing features. And I'm like, no, Mike, you don't understand. It's always been about Star Trek.
Yeah.
And so he hired me. He brought me onto Star Trek. And I was there for most of the time for 3 seasons and got to know Mike Okuda. I'd see him on stage and I loved his work. I mean, when you're a makeup artist or you're on stage, you got a lot of waiting around time.
Right.
While they're setting shots up. So I use that time to explore the sets, As a matter of fact, there's set archaeology. You could go behind certain walls, like in engineering, and see pieces of Star Trek Phase 2 sets.
Oh.
Still there.
Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
The beauty of those stages up until Voyager was done, those are basically the same stages as the motion picture.
Oh.
The corridors, that's why they're exactly the same, arc to them.
Yeah.
Some of the walls, those were so for a long, long time, those were the longest in used sets in Hollywood until they tore them down after Voyager.
Yeah. Oh, Jason.
So, can you walk us through your process of designing futuristic tech that still feels grounded and believable?
Well, that's the difference between, there's 2 ways you could approach this. And that is, you could do science fiction designs, which don't have to obey any rules, really. And then you could do, and this is what makes a Star Trek starship, it's, now it's kind of run out of my head. Aircraft logic. You have to apply aircraft logic to it. And that means first you have to understand how it works and what everything does.
Mm-hmm.
What is where. And it's like, look, if you're doing Masters of the Air and you have to have a B-17, you're going to spruce it up. You know what I mean? It's a historic
piece. Yeah.
So like turbochargers are here, the pitot tube is here. There's a chin turret, and you can't change that. And there's certain things that you expect to see on an aircraft in the mid 40s that if you leave them out, people who know these ships are going to say, "What?" And so I think that this has happened a lot on some of the new shows with the spaceships. They don't understand how wrapped up people are in them. That's why you don't have a problem rubber stamping 2,000 ships that are exactly the same when a fleet shows up, which how the hell do you have a fleet that's big, that all can show up at the same time? I mean, it's like, aren't they all really at far-flung distances? So that is only happens when you have people who are designing the shot, not designing the shot, but creating the story. The ships don't mean anything to them. it's just inconsequential.
It's like a prop instead of a character.
Yeah, I mean, they don't treat it like it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, people who are into starships, they understand how starships work. Remember, Wrath of Khan, you got to learn why a starship works.
Yeah.
If you don't have all of that figured out and in your head, well, first of all, in season 2 of Picard, we did the Stargazer, the new Stargazer.
Oh, I love that shit.
And they had that first shot of it that was killer. Looking down on it, it's this loving shot.
Yeah.
And the internet went crazy the next day.
Yeah.
Saying that we haven't seen a shot like this of a Federation starship since Enterprise ended.
Right.
And that's because Star Trek fans who are into this, like most Star Trek fans, that they very into it. They if it's just, if you have your encyclopedia, when the Union Peace Treaty happened, and when this happened, and when you start throwing that out and changing it, it's kind of offensive. That means everything I memorized and everything I loved, you're telling me was shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it comes across. But the same is true of the ships. A Star Trek fan who really understands the tech wants to see a warp core egress, wants to see reaction control thrusters, wants to see transporter emitters. These things it's like a B-17.
Right.
It's got to be there. And if it isn't, well, you're just doing science fiction design. You just do a design because it's cool.
Right.
You got to do a design that's cool, but also obeys the rules and the history and the aircraft logic. And that was Matt Jeffries that came from. He told us it's aircraft logic. And Matt was an aviator, just like Gene was.
Yeah.
He both flew on B-17s during World War II. Matt was an engineer on a B-17, and Gene was a pilot. One was in Africa, the other was in the Pacific. So that is the difference. When that's why one of the reasons why Dave Blass wanted us.
Yeah.
He said, Doug, I don't want to have to explain to a designer what a warp core egress is. And if you don't know what a warp core egress is, you're not going to get anything else right either.
Right.
Yeah. And I could look at it. I could look at some of those ships and know that they were designed by someone who, you get a lot of people who really are more Star Wars fans. They really want to be doing Star Wars. I'll settle for Star Trek.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
we'll say you don't have to.
For me, I'm not settling. No, Star Trek is what I want to do. I don't care about Star Wars at all.
Right.
Those ships do not. Beautiful work, but they don't interest me.
Right.
I always love the idea that this Starfleet was an extension of where we are going.
Yeah.
I've always found that the most exciting things. In Star Wars, it's not even this galaxy. It's not us.
No.
So it's the same kind of Star Wars. I put more in a group with like Lord of the Rings.
Fantasy.
It's a little more fantasy, and fantasy's great,
Right.
But I always love for a science fiction TV show, the science on Star Trek is pretty hard science, There are definite rules that you need to follow. Otherwise, you're going to lose, the fans are, listen, I understand because I'm one myself.
Yeah.
The Enterprise it still hasn't been beat by any spaceship.
No.
There's not another one. Not another one.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
How do you feel about fan interpretations and redesigns of your work? Because now you've got the whole internet sensation. There's a couple of games you can kind of like customize and really trick these out. And supposedly the Enterprise F was featured in a online game series first before it made it to Picard. So how does that?
I think that the Enterprise F, just like the Enterprise E, yes, they're cool designs, but they don't really accomplish what, say, Gene was doing when he went from the original series ship to the D.
Right.
That Enterprises were always, to me, the E and the F are just another starship, like another chicken in the window.
Mm.
The D is not that. The D has a great message about it's still an enterprise, but it is a quantum leap beyond.
Yeah.
The next enterprise needs to be that.
Mm.
That's why, like, I think that the Enterprise G, forgive me, Terry, is not an enterprise. It's a mid-range starship.
Mm.
You know, I like it and everything, but an enterprise has to be that amazing flagship they've been working on for the last. While this ship has been out there for 30 years, they've been designing this one, and this one has a greater mission on. See, I think that when you go from the D to the J, you need something between the J and the D to be the next one.
Right.
When I did the J,
which I love, by the way.
Well, thank you, because, you know, a lot of people don't understand it because it seems, why those spindly struts, that nacelle would just be knocked off like a soap bubble. That's what I wanted. I wanted people to look at it and say that, because when the original Enterprise came out and we had the store of the Federation Trading Post, people would come in with their kids and talk about what a ridiculous design it was. I mean, those pylons could never support, you know, the thrust. And, well, first of all, there's no thrust. But you can either look at it and think it's stupid and a mistake, or you can use your imagination and say, well, obviously they understand technology that it's so far beyond us, it doesn't look possible.
Yeah.
So when I did the J, I knew that it had to come across as impossible to a lot of people, which it did.
Yeah.
It did. I knew that I had done it right when that happened.
Because it's like a floating planet almost, which I love.
Well, it's like 3 miles long. Which people say, that's ridiculous. That's not ridiculous.
No.
You know, you can have a starship that's 36 miles long. You know, the J is a quantum leap beyond the D. Right. Yet it's a multi-generational ship that not only can travel from star to star, but it can be multi-dimensional as well. You know, it's a universe class ship, and it affords a level of life that is way beyond the D. Just like your level of life on the D was way beyond the original series ship.
Right.
That's what Gene always did. That's what Gene did with the D. He wanted it to be a quantum leap beyond. The J needed to be. It can't just be another starship.
Yeah.
And that's why all the stuff that Gene was involved with, years later, when that stuff actually comes true, they go, wow, how did they ever predict that? You know, Star Trek gets a lot of credit for predicting things. You know what it was? It was they did their homework.
Yeah.
And they looked at what was being developed and what was possible. And that's why Star Trek has such there hasn't been anything like that since Gene died.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, the new Star Treks aren't introducing us to anything that's amazing that in another 20 years they're going to say, how do they think of that? You know?
Yeah.
So while I think that F and the E are cool designs, I don't think that they're any more an Enterprise than the G is.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
Listen to me blather.
No, you're great. Jason, go ahead.
I was going to say, I really enjoyed the reskin of the J that they came out with a year or two ago.
That wasn't a reskin.
Oh,
No?
was it not?
No, they had done that as if they wanted you to be able to see inside. And everybody thought that, that's an upgrade to what? No, that's not the way it looked. That's not the way it looked on the show. You know, and I called them and I said, people are thinking that we are saying this is what the J looks like. They don't understand that it's like the visible V8, you know, or the visible woman, you know, that model kit where you can see through the skin.
Yeah.
Because we had talked about doing a shot where well, first of all, the thing I have to say is that any part of the J's hull can be transparent.
Oh.
You can change the window arrangement. You can make the whole thing transparent. That is not a window on the bridge in these starships that we're looking at. You know, people are upset about a window on the bridge.
Yeah.
Not a window. It's just a transparent part of the hull. They say, why would you have a window? It's dangerous. No, it's not. It wouldn't be dangerous to have a window because look, You got windows all over the ship. Why would you have windows if they were that dangerous?
Right.
You know, I always said we know they've got transparent metal,
Mm-hmm.
and
Scotty,
I
thank you.
I have no problem. How do we know he didn't invent the stuff? I have no problem at that point in the future making entire sections of the hull transparent, you know. But the thing that was on the OTOY site, that was put up there without an explanation. And people thought that was, you know, I am one for not changing. I like continuity. We know what it looked like on Enterprise. That's what it looks like. We could make the whole skin transparent if we wanted to, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's like Parkland and universities. There's a Starfleet Command University on board the J. You could be going to the academy on the J.
Wow.
You know,
it's another leap beyond what the D was.
Yeah.
Right. Because the D brought families together and brought families into space. Now you're going to bring school into space, and
you'll have families again. You know,
yeah.
I always saw the E as a board buster. It was designed for battle. It's more of a battleship, I think. You know, compared to the D. The D was a ship that had families on board. You know, I don't see the E as having families. I think they had a crisis with the Borg. You know. One of the things that does bother me, though, is that a starship should last, unless it's destroyed, should last 100 years.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean Excelsior class ship was going.
Oh, right. But even today, the B-52 Strato bomber, I mean, going. By the time they retire it, it will be 100 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they first used them in the early 50s. They're still using them.
Yeah.
You know. And which always kind of cracks me up, because one thing that on Picard, Terry liked the look of the ships from the motion picture. And that's why the G goes kind of back to that kind of look. And there were people complaining, why would you go back to old tech? And I'm like, you know what? It's not necessarily old tech. I don't know why you're looking at it that way. The Air Force still uses prop-driven planes, you know. It depends on your mission profile. You know, the funny thing is that every new ship, even if it's great, is met with a certain amount of disdain in the beginning, because it's replacing their beloved starship. You know. Yeah.
There's always that angst in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Terry released a couple of pictures of the Titan. And they hadn't seen any episodes yet. And, you know, there's always a group of, fans who will go after something and tear it apart. Yeah. Which I am all for. I think that part of the joy of Star Trek is being able to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's much better than them not caring, you know? Yeah. But when they saw the Titan, they hated it. And once they saw the episodes, they loved it. Yeah. So it all depends on, the show.
Exactly.
You know, they didn't like the D either when they first saw it.
I remember falling in love with them.
Well, you did. I did too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You remember the backlash, Jason?
I do, yes.
Yeah, there was a backlash.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Oh, and there was a backlash. People hated Picard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
That old ball buzzard was what they called him.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and surrendering, and, remember when he was turn around and we surrender, to Q.
Yeah.
He took a lot of flack for that.
What you're working on a documentary right now.
Yes.
So tell us, our followers, what's going on and how they can take part.
I have a lot of stories, and I've been writing some of them down, and I decided that it was time to write my memoir.
There you go.
And I was coming out of the Talleyrand in Burbank, a diner, and ran into this guy who knew who I was. And I didn't realize it at the time, but he's puts together behind-the-scenes stuff for the CW and, the Arrowverse and all that type of stuff. That's what he does. That's his bread and butter. And he contacts me and says, I'd like to do a documentary about you. And I'm like, really? Really? I'm like, okay, so maybe I'll figure out what's so amazing about me. So anyway, I said, I have my memoir. It will give him the ability to understand me and know some of the stories and know what to shoot. So yeah, we're doing it. We have a Kickstarter going. Mm-hmm. If you go to Kickstarter for Trek Star, it'll come up there. Kickstarter just designated it one of their favorite projects.
Nice. Nice. And we'll have the links below in the show notes for both.
I mean, please go. And I mean, if you have $1, $5, $10, or $10,000, that would be great. Things are going well. We still have, Kickstarter tends to start off really big. In the middle, it drops off to nothing. And then the last, 4 days, things theoretically really take. Everyone I've talked to. As a matter of fact, Brian Volkweiss over at Nacelle, who's amazing and has chipped in on this. He's done a lot of Kickstarter. And he was saying, "Oh, you're going to make it. Don't worry."
Yeah.
I knew that Jason Smith. I knew what he did, but I hadn't actually seen any of his work. And when I saw the first thing he put together, that's at the top of the Kickstarter page, I was so delighted because you know what? It has a sense of fun about it.
Right.
A lot of these documentaries sometimes take themselves too seriously. Although the center seat was great. That was Brian. That's some awesome stuff. The ship episode, which I dominate. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
I really had a great time doing it. Brian does amazing stuff. But the great thing about Brian, and he had a multi-part thing, so he could spend more time just looking at the ships. But a lot of these documentaries, they just breeze over the people. You get the writers, and you get the producers, and you get the actors. Mm-hmm. And the rest of it is pretty much just breezed over as inconsequential.
Right.
And what I really would like to see is this thing be successful, and that we can do more like that. It's called Trek Star. Doesn't mean that I'm a Trek star. That's the star I follow to get to be who I am. That's my guiding star, is that Trek Star.
Gotcha.
It's almost like Leonard Nimoy's book, I Am Not Spock. He says, I'm not saying I'm not Spock. But I would like to see it branch out into other people. Do one on Dan Curry. Let's see where he came from. How did he get to be who he is? Mike and Denise Okuda. That would be another one.
Yeah.
And then you could actually call it Trek Stars.
I would
love to. I would love that. I know Jason would too.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. Go ahead, Jason.
Okay. So, what you were talking earlier about how you had to basically redesign some ships 30 times before producers were happy. Were there ever any design elements that you had to fight to keep in despite the pushback?
Well, I mean, you could strongly suggest, but you can't fight. You're working for them. I mean, at a certain point, you could say, well, I think that this is why this is advantageous or this doesn't work. And it depends on the producer. They might say, well, I don't care. Or you get someone like, Terry, who does care.
Right.
He really cares about, what I think when I'm working on something, and he listens. That's really super rare. What a delight it was doing Picard season 3. We were on season 2 as well, but it wasn't until season 3 that Terry got to do what he really wanted to do.
Yeah,
when he came in on 2, they already had a season plotted out. They come to LA in contemporary times, which to me is not really where I want to go on Star Trek.
Yeah.
I live here already,
Yeah.
Although you can do a good time travel. There's some fun time travel stuff,
There's always fun time travel.
I mean, look, Kirk and company came back to San Francisco, and that was a riot. It was a ball.
Yeah.
But And you know who I missed? The guy they showed as the Stargazer. They captured the Stargazer with the cigarette lighter and the cigar that he never smokes, but he pretends.
Yeah.
I loved him. I thought he was great.
Rios.
Yeah, Rios was great.
And he stayed behind in the past. And
how does that work?
Yeah, I was like, well, is he his own ancestor? Is that what happened? Like,
well, you know, I mean, when we did Orville season 3, there was an incredible episode where the redheaded helmsman, Scott Grimes.
Yeah.
There's an explosion and he's gone. You're like, what happened? You know, and Isaac gets a distress call from, like, you know, several hundred years in the past. And it's him.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And they go back, they find him, and he's been there for like 10 years already or something, you know.
Right.
They're like, we're here to bring you back. And he's like, come home with me. And they meet his family, his kids, his wife, who was the girl he met in the holodeck with the phone. Remember? That was awesome. And when they say, well, you're coming back, and he pulls out a weapon. He says, I'll kill you, but I'll kill you.
Yeah,
I can't leave here. Are you kidding me? Yeah. This is my family. You know, I just lost Dorothy at that time, and I cried when I saw that episode to see someone losing everything. Then they said, okay, well, we're just going to go back and do it again, and hopefully we'll come back early enough so that, which is what happens.
Yeah.
In the Orville reality there, you can't stay there. They will put handcuffs on you and take you back.
Yeah.
That's the way it has to be.
Right.
Or you have to try to get back earlier. You can't leave people in the past like that.
Yeah, it's a time paradox.
Yeah, so when they left what's his name behind in season 2, I'm like, what?
Yeah, that really tripped me out too.
It's the predestination paradox. It was always supposed to happen.
I guess so.
Yeah. It's like the Terminator, you know. Kyle was supposed to go because that was his dad, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, I only have a couple of minutes left. I have something I have to do after this, but I will come back anytime.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, we had a lot of fun talking.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah,
I could talk about this like for days.
Yeah, us too.
It's crazy.
We're big Starship heads, so we were like,
me too.
Doug, yeah. So
yeah, you know, starships. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care to design other spaceships. I mean, I could do it.
Yeah.
But there's just something about a Gene Roddenberry Matt Jeffrey starship.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's the honesty of it, and that you know that where it came from, there was real heart and belief in what it was. It's not some, you know, it's like, I don't know. You know, I mean, I've seen really amazing design work done on shows where the producer, say Irwin Allen, for instance, thinks the show is for kids. But the Sea View is amazing. Yeah. And the Jupiter 2 is gorgeous.
I agree.
You know, I love those two designs. Yeah. And those robots as well. You know, the robot from Lost in Space is a masterpiece.
Will Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. You know, I'm the only even when I was like 11 or whatever watching that show, I knew it was silly. You know, but I really loved the tech, and I loved the adventures of Will the robot and Dr. Smith.
Yeah, Dr. Smith was great because he was always like that anti-hero type of character. Where he was always out for himself, right?
But he was adorable when he was doing it. You know, in the beginning they made him very, very scary, but you know that came around where he was kind of adorable. Dr. Smith, pretty handsome Dr. Smith.
All right. Well, Doug, thank you so much. This was amazing to sit and chat with you, and we're definitely going to have you back so we can talk about ships and everything.
It's great fun.
Yeah, and when you get your Kickstarter fully funded, we're going to talk about your release. So
awesome. And the memoir, theoretically, is probably going to be out late spring.
Okay.
But I'm doing another draft of it now. But and it's going to be Jacobs and Brown that did Mark Cushman's These Are the Voyages books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
That's incredible. All right.
Yeah. Well, Cushman's he's helping me out editorial wise. Anyway, got to run.
Okay. Great to meet you, and we hope you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back with you again.